Isaac Hayes. I put Isaac Hayes in the category like in terms of like for black men in this country, like Muhammad Ali and like Malcolm X. You know, Isaac changed, you know, the way that black men view themselves.
Isaac Hayes is a soul legend. From blues to hip-hop, he remains one of black America's most influential musicians.
But Isaac Hayes is one of the one-of-a-kind. And he's a very intelligent, very smart man.
The first African-American to win an Oscar for music, his score for Shaft was a cool revolution in cinema. Today, Isaac Hayes means something quite different to a new generation. As the voice of the cartoon cook of surreal South Park, he's gone from Shaft to chef.
Say, everybody haven't seen my balls, they're big and salty and brown. If you ever need a quick pick-me-up, just stick my balls in your mouth. Ooh.
There's so little directing that goes along because he just is chef.
Suck on my chocolate salted balls. Stick them in your mouth and suck them.
When it gets to Isaac, it's all about love between a man and a woman.
You could cover, like, Imagine and somehow turn it into some sultry
Imagine you and me.
song.
Imagine all the people watching you and me.
If you feel like you want to make love under the stars above, love on. Love on.
Isaac's soul is more of that just raw. I'm talking about just raw, dirty, grimy, heart-wrenching, you know, that type of dark soul.
Now if you feel like you want to scream, unless you're well letting off steam, just scream on. Scream on.
I mean, Isaac has like lent a lot of joy and kind of helped me metamorphosize some pain. And for that, you know, he'll always be the man to me.
Cause whatever you got to do your thing, yeah.
Are you ready? Give it up for Mr. Isaac Hayes!
And then it's doom with piano stuff. And I mean, it's just like, it's the coolest song.
I didn't listen to Shaft for quite a while because that's all I could hear was Shaft. So I said, oh, no, enough. Now I can appreciate it because it has withstood the test of time.
Now Hayes is creating another original movie soundtrack. Shaft 2000 will bring that unforgettable theme into the new millennium.
I don't know about the main theme. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't think they should mess with it. I could re-record it with today's technology, but I don't think I need to, you know, do too much to it.
I agree.
It's like up there, you know, as a classic, like John Barry's James Bond tune, you know, down, 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 down. I mean, people in the back of their mind have heard that once in their life, you know, they've encountered that. So, of course I'm going to use that.
All your friends walk around with weapons like that in their pockets?
That depends. My Negro friends don't walk around with rabbit's feet no more.
Don't get wise with me, Shaft. There's a very simple way for me to go. I put your goddamn ass in.
Now sue your goddamn ass for false arrest.
You know, a black man who's like, you know, has got balls and not taking no shit off of, you know, whitey with everything, you know what I mean? And like, it just like, it was revolutionary, you know, that film, having the black character with attitude and having the music right on top of it and Isaac's voice, you know, classic.
Who is the man that would risk his neck for his brother, man? Shaft! Can you dig it?
They're gonna have Sam Jackson. Is he gonna do that?
Yeah. Sam's gonna do it.
I'm gonna put my word in for you. You ought to be Shaft this time.
No, it's always, I always wanted to do that, you know? I wanted to do it, but, you know, I think I came out the better anyway.
Yeah, oh yeah, right.
I've been listening to that soundtrack now for 2 months since I got the job. My agent gave me a copy of it the day we, you know, closed the deal. She sent me the soundtrack, so I've been rolling around with it.
Who's the black private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks? Shaft!
I'm just fighting desperately to make sure, you know, that Shaft shows up as a black private dick who's a sex machine for all the chicks.
Happy birthday, Isaac! Happy birthday, Isaac! We love
Opera singer Kathleen Battle is only one of the musical luminaries and friends gathered to celebrate Isaac Hayes' birthday and an extraordinary career.
Please welcome composer, producer, musician, 70s icon, humanitarian, the legendary Mr. Isaac Hayes.
This event is more than just a star-studded birthday party. It's a fundraiser for literacy projects Hayes is promoting and an opportunity to express his forthright views on the gap between the civil rights generation and young African Americans.
Get in touch with your roots. I tell young people, if you know from whence you came, you would not be harming each other like that when you realize who you are. Thank you very much. The generation gap has gotten wider because we've lost a lot of young African American men. We've lost them to drugs, to violence, and there's a big gap. I don't know how much awareness or how much knowledge that they have on the civil rights struggle and what happened and how much sacrifice was made so that they can have rights to vote, that they can go places and sit down and eat no matter where. If you take a census and ask, do you know who Martin Luther King is? And some people don't even know. We don't teach enough. We don't keep them aware of heritage and so forth. I can't imagine the memories that are running through my mind as a little kid. You know, right now where we're walking, where I'm walking, I'm standing on the ground of what once was a schoolhouse. I used to play all around here. I used to play all over here. On this road, used to be a dust road, dirt road. Guys used to drive down the road in horse and buggy. And they would also ride in these flatbed wagons drawn by mules and had their chairs sitting in the wagons when they were going to church. This is maybe approximately where the house stood. Right in this area, I would think. You know, when you're a kid, everything looks extra big. I was born in a tin-top house that sat right on the opposite side of this ditch. And this ditch also had a pretty fair amount of catfish in it. We'd go out there and just drop a pole out and fish and pull some catfish out. You had catfish for dinner when you wanted to. And that now it's a field of cotton growing. After a hard day's work in the fields and supper had been served and everything, we'd sit on the porch. And somebody would strike up a song. Mainly my grandmother. My grandfather would try. I mean, he couldn't keep a tune in a bucket. But we would sing. We'd sing spiritual songs. His favorite song was His Eyes on the Sparrow. That song breaks me up even when I hear it now. because it brings those memories back. Sought a better life in the city. So we migrated to Memphis. Had a lot of promises and a lot of better living and things like that, but you know, it didn't happen that way. Didn't have a normal childhood. Kids playing in the streets, I had to work. Had to find jobs, a way to dig out a living. I did construction works, I cleaned bricks. I worked at grocery stores, stock boy, delivery boy. I cut grass, mowed lawns. I shined shoes. Memphis has always been a thoroughfare of drifters and travelers because of the river, Mississippi. So Memphis is a heck of a melting pot. Blues, gospel, country, jazz.
Well, they call it Stormy Monday.
Hayes was always drawn to the musical heart of Memphis. As a teenager, he got yet another job, singing and playing sax and piano in the city's clubs and bars.
It was some rough clubs. I remember one time, trumpet player, I was with this band, Captain Valentine, the Swing Cats. And trumpet player Mickey Gregory, you know, we were jazz enthusiasts as well, so Mickey was playing the Blues March with the trumpet. Anyway, he was playing that, and this guy walks in, shoots up in the middle of the ceiling, boom, with a shotgun, overalls, boots on. I don't want to hear no bugle. I heard enough bugles in the army. I want to hear some blues. Of course, we dove behind pianos and things like that. When everything calmed down, we played some real down-home blues.
The site of 926E Macklemore is wasteland today, but in the early 60s, it was the home of black American music. Stax Records made artists like Otis Redding, Rufus Thomas, and Booker T and the MGs famous, forging a fresh, gritty blues and gospel-infused soul music. Stax gave Isaac Hayes his big break, working as a session musician.
So Jim Stewart, who was the owner of Stax, said, young man, you know, you sound pretty good on keyboards. Booker T is off in school, Booker T or Booker T and MGs. So would you like a job as a staff musician? Yeah. Whoa, I'm in Stax, man. I made it, I'm in Stax. So I started playing in Stax. I was very nervous. The first session was an Otis Redding album session.
Do me wrong, you want it. Do me wrong, but while I know all I'm asking, oh, no, come home. Hey, girl.
Stax teamed David Porter with Isaac to form what would become one of the classic 60s songwriting partnerships. Hayes and Porter wrote for all the Stax stars, but it was their work with singers Sam and Dave that sparked a sequence of soul hits that captured the essence of the Stax sound.
When we went to Stax, I looked to my right. Coming down the street was this guy with a bald head, and I had on a chartreuse shirt, pink pants, pink socks, and white shoes. And I turned to Dave and I said, "Oh my God, we are in trouble. Who is that?" I didn't have a clue. And I remember Jim Stewart saying, "Sam, Dave, I want you to meet Isaac Hayes." And I looked at this guy and I went, "Oh my God, we're in a circus." He was a master at what he was doing for Sam and Dave. He could sit. This is a man that didn't read. You know, he didn't look at a music chart and say, "We're gonna sing." He would take the horns and say, I want you to boom, 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 bam, 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 bam. This is what I want you to do. And he would voice what they call voice. He would voice those horns.
Da 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 da. You know, and so man, ba da ba ba da ba ba da.
We had signals. If he wanted me to show that I'm enjoying it, he would, and I would laugh, ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Look at
It just caught on. I mean, I remember guys used to tease us. Hey, hitmakers, how many hit songs y'all write today?
Soul man, got to have a soul man. I'm a soul man. Don't you want a soul man? I'm a soul man. Got to be a soul man. I gotta be a soul man.
A lot of people didn't know about Soul Man. They didn't know what the meaning was or what inspired that song. Well, during the 60s when the rioting, a lot of protesting was going on and the height of the civil rights struggle and all that. Well, I saw on TV one day the city of Detroit, and they were burning and rioting. And one of the reporters said, well, it was said that if you got the word soul inscribed on your building or your door, they would bypass it, wouldn't burn your business. I said, soul, soul. That's pride out there running on those streets. They're doing something together. I didn't say I condone what they were doing, but I saw that there was a unity.
Soul baby, soul baby, soul baby, soul baby.
Soul, that's pride. Soul man, soul man. I called David and said, David, I got a title, man. Soul man, soul man. A lot of the songs that we did during those times had a lot to do with our awareness of the desired equality and justice from a country that had been so suppressive and so racist toward the African American citizens.
It's been a long time coming, but I know change has gotta come now.
I had the honor of marching with Dr. King on his, the last march that he made in Memphis, the one which was disrupted. At first it was very exciting. Everybody came together, children, grown-ups, people from all walks of life. And all of a sudden something broke out. Windows started breaking, and people started scattering and running, and everybody said, back to the church, back to the church. Well, we headed back to the church, but it was such a melee. A lot of us got there too late, and the doors were already locked, closed and locked, and the police, they sick dogs and mace on us. These guys had sticks just beating people for no reason. But that was a mindset.
It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it is.
When King returned to Memphis the following month, he stayed at the Lorraine Motel. On the 4th of April 1968, Martin Luther King was assassinated outside Suite 306.
When we got the news, I was in such shock and dismay. I felt like my whole world was gone. It was awful. It was awful. I was so full of hatred and bitterness for white folks, because they represented my enemy at that point. Out of the tragedy of the loss of Dr. King was born a new resolve, and we formed a group called the Black Knights. We worked to get the responsible people, like city leaders and so forth, to do what was the right thing to do. And if they didn't, we had a group called it was a militant arm called the Invaders. They would burn, they would terrorize, they would threaten the cops for all the brutality and stuff like that. They would challenge them. Now, sometimes, and I don't condone it, but sometimes brutal force, strong confrontation is the only thing that gets people's attention, especially during a time of crisis, when your survival is at stake.
Hayes was already a political radical. As a songwriter, his next album would revolutionize black music. Hot Buttered Soul looked and sounded like nothing that had gone before.
It changed the way that album covers were viewed, with the head on the cover. It opened the market for black album sales. It opened the door for beautiful lush strings on top and funky rhythms underneath. It opened the door for monologues, for rapping, the early days of rapping, talking, and telling stories. I'm talking about the power of love now. I'm gonna tell you what love can do. You know when they say love makes the world go round, that's the truth. There were only 4 cuts on this LP, 2 to a side. The longest cut was, by the time I get to Phoenix, 18 minutes and 40 seconds. He said, by the time I get to Phoenix, she'll be rising. Oh, and she'll find a note I left hanging on the door. Back in college, I was actually going with this girl, and I had gone with her off and on a lot. And the last time we broke up, Isaac had just come out with, by the time I get to Phoenix. And that whole monologue right before the song actually starts, the song's like grooving, and he's doing this monologue. And that whole little section about, 4 times I left that woman, and 4 times I returned. And finally she said, "Gone, fool." And it was almost like, wow, this is my life. 'Cause I've left that girl so many times before. It touched women because it showed vulnerability and humaneness. It touched men because some of them could not express themselves that way. They could put me on and play it, and it would speak for them.
Isaac Hayes is all over the charts. Look at this. Hot Buttered Soul, number 8 on the top LPs. Over on the soul charts, it's number 2. And on the jazz charts, it's number 1. So here is Isaac Hayes.
I just can't get over losing you. So if I seem all broken into, please walk on by. Walk on by.
Hot Buttered Soul also made an impact on filmmaker Gordon Parks. He was about to make the movie that would define an era, about a super cool, leather-clad, streetwise, handsome, black private detective, Shaft.
I listened to a number of musicians, and the moment they played some of Isaac's music for me, I knew immediately that he was the person I wanted to do the film, because the music said what I was saying with the camera.
They wanted a black director, and they wanted a black composer. And since I was Stax's #1 man at the time, I was chosen. Yeah, I'll do it. Of course, I wanted to be the lead actor. So I solicited for the lead role. Now they agreed to give me a screen test and all that stuff, but they never did.
That was difficult. Persuade him that he couldn't be Shaft.
Of course, they said, oh, Mr. Hayes, you didn't, nobody told you? Well, we already cast a guy named Richard Roundtree for the lead. Of course, I was totally dejected. But Mr. Hayes, you're gonna do the music. You promised to do that. You committed to do that? Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Of course, it was a blessing in disguise. They sent me the scene of Shaft coming up out of the elevator at the beginning of the film, and I had to write the pieces. And I flew to New York City, where I met with Joel Freeman, the producer, and Gordon Parks, the director, and they played it against the music, against the film. You see, yeah, that's pretty good, that's good. You can go to LA now and go to work.
Outdoors! Get out of the way!
And he looked at the footage every day, and he got excited. And I knew I had my man.
Uptown, brother. Amsterdam Avenue.
They kind of changed people's ways of thinking about how music for a movie should sound. All that chase music became very different. It stopped being and started to be like got the tension, you got the excitement, and it wasn't just adventurous. It was gritty, it was edgy, it was street, but it changed the whole concept of how to pull an audience into a movie.
Now, you know I've been playing the Vibes all my life. So there's this song, and if he gets to see this, he'll love this, that he played Vibes on the soundtrack. Just one song, and it goes, I'm just going to hum a little bit, it goes, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. Oh, man.
Shaft captured a time, a place, and the sexual, social, and racial revolutions engulfing urban America. For the black community, it was a significant cultural moment.
We never had a movie that was, I guess, that serious in terms of production and being about something that we were proud of, you know. We actually had a guy who wasn't a pimp or a convict or something else, who was a hero fighting a man. It was, you know, a private eye. And it meant something to all of us to want to emulate somebody like that, to be as cool as John Shaft.
Shaft's cool. I try it on myself every now and then, just to remember the moment. Yeah. Still looks good. I have to wear it sometimes. Good memories.
The Shaft soundtrack went on to win awards and sell millions. Isaac Hayes was nominated for the biggest prize of all, the Oscar.
The day that the Academy Awards 1972 was on, my grandmother was my date. And she came to LA from Memphis. I flew her in, and I had her all dolled up. She had makeup artists work on her, all the pampering, all the whole treatment. And she shook her head. She said, Lord have mercy, I never did think I'd live to see this day. And I choked, because I knew exactly what she meant. This old lady had seen me through some hard times. That's why she was my date.
The evening turned out to be one of the most thrilling of Isaac Hayes' career.
And they said, Isaac Hayes, I don't recall running to the stage. I just recall walking across the stage. And before I turned to face the podium, Sammy Davis and Joel Grey were standing in the wings behind the curtain. And Sammy was holding Joel Grey jumping up and down. I told you, I told you, I told you, I told you. Trust in the Lord. Oh, yeah.
Like one of my favorite songs is off the Shaft soundtrack. Is Soulsville. You know, black man born free. At least that's the way it's supposed to be. Chains that binds him are hard to see unless you take this walk with me.
Place where he lives has got plenty of names. Slums, ghetto, and black belt, they are one and the same, and I call it.
Hayes' new status as a leader earned him a dramatic title.
It come to me that, hey, Isaac Hayes come on the scene with a different type of arrangements and different type of mindset for music. And to me, it was like he was parting the waters, you know, of the music industry. And so, hey, the Black Moses came to him and said, hey, man, boom, the Black Moses.
The present all of us have been waiting for.
Los Angeles, August 1972. A high watermark of Black Power. Wattstacks. The headline act was the Black Moses, Isaac Hayes.
At that time with the black movement and whatnot, he sort of like said something for them, you know. He identified with them. The way that he dressed, you know, his Africanness.
And one of the things that was beautiful about Isaac, like he was definitely black and proud. He was not hiding his blackness. He wasn't trying to, you know, trying to dilute it at all.
The change. You know, the change was, one time, of course, change represented bondage to an African American, but I was making mockery of it, and it represented strength. You know, and for a black man could stand and wear these chains as a symbol of strength and pride, and well, some women took it as a sexual thing, you know.
It's the first time that anybody had ever seen a bald-headed black man who was physically very attractive. And then the garb, you know, the chains and the this and the that, it was like, that's a man, a real M-A-N, man. He oozed sex, his voice. I mean, there is no other voice like his. They're very deep and suggestive and sensitive.
Your love that forced me in my head day and night. You see, I just can't stand to let you out of my sight.
There weren't a lot of, you know, bald black guys who wore big flashy sunglasses and, you know, had beards and kind of looked intimidating, but yet there was still something soft and really sexy about that, you know, for all of us. I mean, not just the women, but for men too.
I'm gonna keep on checking on you. I got to know everything.
I was young then, and I was wild and crazy. Wasn't stupid, but you find a guy who has been thrust on the stage in the spotlight. And all the pretty girls that you think you can have, you can have.
I'm listed in the yellow pages all around the world. 30 years experience in loving sweet young girls. Just call the good Lord 69969.
A guy can lose himself. I was fortunate that I got a grip before I totally got out of line. This is a cover of Juicy Fruit, and it's self-explanatory. I mean, I was in there with a lot of Juicy Fruits in the pool, and I had a lot of fun with these ladies inside that pool. The inside shot, this is a trick shot, but it was a lot of fun. You know how people say, man, let's get naked and get in the pool. Well, suppose that we were coming out of our swim outfits and getting ready to go skinny dipping. And there you have our feet. Now, this one I'm really ashamed of because I hadn't been near pedicures at all. So my feet kind of look Jurassic Parkish, you know? But at that point, I did not care. Now, you wonder if we were nude. Well, I'm not going to tell you. I leave that to your imagination.
Isaac Hayes' sex god persona is now playfully recreated in the surreal cartoon world of South Park, from hot buttered soul to chocolate salty balls.
2 tablespoons of cinnamon and 2 or 3 egg whites. A half a stick of butter melted.
Well, they say it's an alter ego. Well, it might be. It might be. Because, well, I love women. And women love Chef. Now, what is the appeal? Well, he's so cute, he's so cuddly. But the main thing is, he does not BS. He tells them what he wants. I want to make love to you, woman.
How about a little more of that good loving, Chef?
Damn, woman. I just gave you sweet loving 5 minutes ago. Were you trying to kill me?
We met Isaac and we were telling him, you know, like, yeah, we were, you know, it was really, we were just going to go to you or maybe Barry White. And Chef was like, oh, I taught Barry everything he knows.
Suck on my chocolate salted balls. They're packed full of vitamins and good for you. So suck on my balls.
And my agent called me because I already mentioned that I wanted to do some voiceover stuff. And so he said, well, Mr. Hayes, I think I have a voiceover for you. I'm saying, yes, Disney, man. He said, no, it's not quite Disney.
Chef, how do you make a woman like you more than any other guy?
Oh, that's easy. You just gotta find the clitoris.
Huh?
Oops.
What does that mean, find the clitoris?
Forget I said anything. Move along, children. You're holding up the line.
I said, oh, man. I'm thinking myself, what the hell am I doing here? And they said, well, just read this right here. And I started cracking up. Okay, Joker. Who's the Joker? No, this is real. I said, you guys are serious. I said, you think you can get away with this? I said, you covered for insurance, man? Because y'all going to get sued.
There's been a couple times, and we've had some pretty bad lines in the show where, like, you know, in the beginning we'll be like, man, I wonder what he's going to say about this. This line is pretty harsh. Like the line when the elephant is having sex with the pig, and he says, now I know how all those white women must have felt. And we were like, oh, man, I don't know.
Man, now I know how all those white women feel. Something like that, he said. That was a funny line. And Matt and Trey, they stuck those lines in, man, that would just shock you. It got your attention. But I used to tell myself, man, you guys sitting back here writing this stuff, I got to go out in public.
Chef was going to be in trouble for taxes. And Isaac, you know, called us one day, and he's like, wait a second, this is getting too close, because I guess he had a real problem, you probably know, a problem with taxes and stuff. And we had to tell him, like, look, you know, we're 2 white idiots from Colorado who lived in a world about this big, and, you know, you just got to know up front that we don't know your life.
In the 1970s, Isaac Hayes suffered serious financial problems. He went from having a gold-plated Cadillac and 65 staff to bankruptcy in 4 years. Hayes was the victim of a bitter dispute with the rapidly declining Stax label, who owed him several $1 million. In 1977, unable to repay the bank, he lost his personal fortune and the rights to his Stax recordings.
He was not at the peak of his existence during that time. We became each other's confidants. If something was going down with him that was really tacky, we'd sit and talk about it for hours and hours, and at the end of the conversation, literally we found the solution that there's nothing we can do about that, so let it happen and keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I think that you know, Isaac was a pioneer that did a lot of struggling, opened up a lot of doors for myself and a lot of other younger producers, and he made mistakes that we have learned from. As a black generation that's in the music industry, we're definitely much wiser and much smarter now. This was instilled in us from the previous generation, like, you know, where y'all learn and y'all show the world that it's not going to be this way.
I've learned a lot over the years. I have learned survival over the years. I understand what success is. I understand what failures are. I understand what it takes to sustain something. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 98.7 Kiss FM, Isaac Hayes and friends. And as I always say, you never know who's gonna drop by Ike's house. So let's give a round, a warm welcome for Granique. That's right.
Today, New York City wakes up to the voice of Isaac Hayes. He hosts Kiss FM's top-rated morning show, playing vintage and contemporary soul music.
Listeners, Kishners, they will give you a warm welcome, darling, give you a lot of love. 98.7 Kiss FM, Isaac Hayes and friends. And I'm so glad it's Friday because it lets me know that it's the weekend.
Kiss FM's sister station plays rap music that carries the imprint of Hayes' work. His back catalogue lives on, sampled by the hip-hop generation. It's a legacy that leaves Hayes with some uneasy feelings.
The other thing that I might have an issue with, and that is how some of the language can get so gangster. If it inspires someone to commit a violent act, then I don't want my music to be a part of that because there's retribution. It's just not right. And also, women, how they talk to their black sisters, that I don't want to contribute to that either.
We got these niggas cornered, so maintain I got the drugs here under the master bed behind the back stairs. Like 20 grams plus the caravan. I left the keys by the safe, erased the code and flipped the lights.
This is a legacy that America has given its country, and that is a legacy of violence and so forth. And it's reflected, of course, a lot of it in hip-hop. America is definitely still a racist society, and we see it every day. It'll mutate. It'll change its color, its MO, but it's still here. It is definitely still here, alive and kicking. Seems like this country only understands the power of finance. That talks. Is it money talks? That's right, money talks. If we have money, it doesn't mean that you are loved and accepted. You're not. You'll always be what you are. I just can't get over losing. So if I see you broken and blue, walk Walk on by. Walk on by. I guess I've been in the business over 40 years. It's a long time when you think about it. But if you don't think about it, it's almost like yesterday. Open my nose and you turn my head. There you go. And now you might as well go. I don't see Isaac Hayes retiring anytime soon because of the love of the business. I haven't hit that spot that's, yeah, this is it.
Long live Isaac, and forever you be my friend. And keep on being Isaac Hayes the man, and Isaac Hayes the Moses.
I'm keeping my money, because you took away your honey. You gotta walk on by.
You know you don't mean it.
I do mean it. I do mean it. I do mean it. Well, I think I mean it.